Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 6 of the Enigmatica 6 single player Let's Play series. Today I wanted to kind of cut in and start the episode off with some enchanting because I've been looking into some of our equipment and some of the things that I've been finding as we go. Of course, I have been doing some exploration between episodes, and I've been doing some mining between episodes, just kind of getting the tedium out of the way. Also, just trying to get things prepared for upcoming episodes and this one even, and just kind of get things gathered so that we don't have to do that within the episode quite so often. It'll help keep these episodes pretty concise. Real quick, in between episodes, I did add these cute little lanterns here. These are very cool. These are from supplementaries, and they swing whenever you bump into them. I love how they connect to these fences. They're probably one of my favorite additions here. Um, and yeah, overall, it's just one of my favorite little add-ons from this mod from supplementaries. Is just the hanging lanterns from the side blocks. So, anyways, I've gotten a couple of pretty good bows. You've got this one that gives you speed, and then I've got this one which gives you quick draw, and the speed one also gives you quick draw, and it gives you a chance to create spectral arrows, which you can barely see there, but there's like a yellow tip. You can see it much better when the FOV isn't modified. So I was hoping that today what we could do, since this one is unbreakable, we could use this unbreakable bow as our sort of overall bow. So I was thinking we could add 5 levels here to put infinity on it, and now we are basically insanely overpowered when it comes to ranged combat. So if we grab that, and I'm going to rename this, so that way we have less of these weird formatting errors, because that's what you're seeing here, these strange issues. Bow of the, yeah, I'm just leave it as bow. Honestly, I'm just going to call it energetic bow. And so now we have a bow that can quick draw. And if I remove these, also has completely infinite arrow supply. And is so fast because we also have True Shot 5 that we don't have to even fully charge it, and it'll increase the velocity of the arrow. So yeah, I think that is pretty insane. When we go to fight the Ender Dragon, we are so well off for that. I don't think we really have to worry about it. I've been upgrading a couple of things on our equipment as well. Like I said, we did make that Silk Touch pick, and the leggings I put mending on, and the boots I put mending on. So the boots I just put mending on, so the durability on them is still pretty low. But yeah, overall, we're just kind of leveling up our gear and our stuff, which is pretty crazy what level we're up to at this point as far as just the ability to do some insane damage. So yeah, so my main goal for this episode really was to sort of get started with some of the more advanced storage modules, and maybe even build up a nice little a building for like a just a storeroom, really, a place to store all of our stuff. Because we're growing in how much stuff we have, and we're losing out on a lot of space in here. Not that I desperately need it, but like, so far we've got just a small little kitchenette that I haven't even filled in all the way, which is my bad, but you know, there are a lot of little miscellanies from a lot of other mods that I could use this space for, and this space is already, we're getting cramped. Like, you know, we're running out of space in most of our chests. This one is a diamond chest, and we're almost full. And there's nothing we can do after diamond to make this more, to give us more room. And the same goes for this one over here. So looking through the quest line, it gave me a really great idea. Rather than jumping into, I don't know if we don't have applied energistics, we have refined storage. But rather than doing refined storage right off the bat, which we can absolutely afford, even though we'd have to build out an energy infrastructure, we could really easily do that. I mean, there's nothing to be afraid of. We could just jump in. But I didn't know what? I have no idea what that's about. Intriguing when we get to that point. But what I wanted to really get started with, oh, and I have been fulfilling some quests just kind of in between. But what I really wanted to get started with was, if you go over here to logistics and we look at storage, they are trying to motivate you into using pretty pipes, and I completely agree. Pretty Pipes is a very, very cool mod. You can do all sorts of things, such as managing all of your items and viewing them all from the terminal, the item terminal. So it's sort of like an early game refined storage system to some degree, but it also has an auto crafting mechanic. It's a little more verbose, like you don't just have magical. I say magical. It's considered a tech mod, but to some degree, it's magic how all your stuff just turns into energy, just turns into data essentially with refined storage, which I don't have any problems with, but it's cool to still be able to walk up and get your stuff out of a chest. So what I think I'm going to get started with right off the bat is building out a storeroom, and that's probably going to come in form of a time lapse, just because I've gotten to the point where building is more of a, it's not like a one-off process that I can talk about and do at the same time. I sort of just have to work through it. Sometimes it's, destroying parts, sometimes it's building up parts, sometimes it's back and forth. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started with that. All right, so as you probably saw in that time lapse, we definitely got everything taken care of and wrapped up here. I really like how this building turned out. It's just a little bit bigger than what we already had, and this is all going to be dedicated to storage. You'll notice that on these two wings, the left and right, I made these, the base polished andesite 2 blocks tall. And the reason for that is because I usually like to keep things like maybe storage drawers in these areas, and I want to make sure that when I do, they're not going to try to connect to these glass panes, and they're not going to, like, a glass pane that's pointing straight into a solid block seems pretty pointless to me. So that's kind of my logic here as to why I did it this way, and I think it turned out really nicely. The roof turned out pretty good. It could use, it could absolutely use some granite, or no, definitely some granite would help here, but I didn't have any on hand. So if I do ever get some, I'll probably redo the roof to add some, to shuffle some granite into this, just to kind of help it out some. But overall, I think we are pretty good. So, at this point, I wanted to start getting into pretty pipes, and you can see I've already made a couple of these. They're pretty straightforward. It's just tin ingots and some glass, any uncolored glass. And these guys are pretty cool. You can have them like harness to solid blocks if that's what you're looking for. You can connect them to other inventories, and essentially what we can do with these is create an entire pipe network. Now, looking through the quest, the next logical step for us to take is to move on to an item terminal, and this is going to require some of the pretty pipes items as well as some thermal stuff. So we will be getting into thermal briefly, but really we're just scratching the surface here, so I'm not too concerned about diving deeper into thermal than I really wanted to, because we're mostly just using some of the crafting ingredients from it. So taking a look, we're going to need some tin, we're going to need some iron, we're going to need these nuggets, and we're going to need to get Invar. Invar is a alloy that we'll need to craft out here in the alloy kiln. So to make Invar, we're going to need, for every 1 nickel, we'll need 2 iron. And we'll just leave that to work. I wonder actually if this will... One of these has to be the root block. It's this one. And we're done. So that helps to keep things pretty fast and interesting. So that gives us our Invar, and we can proceed to make Invar Gears. We're going to need 2 of these. We are going to need a tin gear to then turn it into a machine frame from thermal. We will need a redstone servo, which is just iron and 2 redstone. Looks like that recipe went unchanged. I already have an observer from some of the exploration we've been doing. So far we are good. We're going to need that there, and then we will need a high retrieval and a high extraction module. These guys are pretty cool. So the retrieval module allows you to pull items to a chest. So if I had all of these chests hooked up all together with pipes, and then had no upgrades on them, and then had one chest at the very end with a retrieval upgrade, it could retrieve from all the inventories what it needs. It's essentially a suction. It sucks things out of those chests and into the target that it's attached to. And then the extraction module pushes things out of a chest into the system. So you have pushing versus pulling, essentially. So then, whoops, I don't know why that ended up in my inventory. So to make these, it looks like we're going to need the medium and then low. Low looks like it's going to require these blank modules, which use stone slabs. So let's get stone slabs. In fact, let's go ahead and get a couple of extra just to make sure we're good. It's not like it makes that much of a difference anyway. And rest assured, I will, of course, make a pathway over to our little storage room. Storehouse, really, more than anything. And I've been giving this system a very thorough test. I threw in a whole bunch of different cobbled stones from, like, Create and stuff, and let them just go, and it worked perfectly. The system didn't miss anything at all. So, that feels good. Now, I'm afraid that these might turn into smooth stone. We're just gonna have to see. Nope. Okay, so it seems like the smelting process only occurs once. Good. So we're not going to be messed up there. We will create some of these empty modules, blank modules. So these are copper nuggets and redstone. And then copper nuggets, we'll grab 9 of these. And we will start here. So we're going to need an observer and a redstone and more of those alloy. All right, and then with that electrum, right, we are already using that one. Let's go ahead and get 18 for now. So starting here, we're going to need one of these guys. Easy enough. So then we go back. Oh, no, okay. We can make this, upgrade it to the Invar tier, and upgrade that to, whoops, something got confused. Upgrade that to the Invar tier, and then upgrade that to the high tier. And then we will do the same for the extraction, so we'll need another one of these guys. There we go. That's the high and the low. And there we go. Item terminal. So the item terminal acts as a central access point for an entire pipe network, shows the contents of every inventory on the network, excluding inventories connected via extraction or retrieval nodes. Items may be requested from a network by clicking the item, selecting a quantity, and pressing request. Shift clicking plus or minus will increase and decrease by 64 at a time. Control clicking does 10 at a time. Items can be dumped back into the network by placing them into the right-hand slots. We'll grab Miner's Delight because Miner's Delight. Wow, that really was a Miner's Delight. Nope, that was a mistake. Oh well. So we should have a bunch of nuggets that we do not need. That back in there. That leaves us with a whole bunch of things to process. Wowie. So let's toss these over here. Make sure that that's getting processed, because that's a lot of stuff. That's going to be a lot of diamonds. I look forward to that. And I'm a really big fan of our little create system. That's super cool how that's working so well. There are some upgrades we can make to it, especially once we get into some of the technical sides of like other mods, but we'll see. So now we have our item terminal, and I just want to test because I don't remember. Does the item terminal require? There we go. So this is set to sync. Oh wow, so that just works. Okay. Well, dang. I did not realize that just worked without needing any upgrades. Well, that's going to be great. So this guy only has an interface whenever it's connected to something correctly. But if we were to do something, and I'm just prototyping here, okay? So I know it looks dumb. It's meant to look dumb. I am just prototyping. We could put this here, and now we have access to everything. I could synchronize JEI search, but I don't think that's necessary. And we can search by amount, name, or mod. Oh man, perfect. I love sorting by the mod. And then, is there an easy way to focus? Oh wow, LPEC actually added proper tabbing. And it looks like the tooltip follows your mouse cursor. I'm not sure if that's intended, but I honestly don't mind it. So yeah, it looks like the tabbing for the interface is actually pretty good. Pretty well done. Okay, so yeah, ascending from Alex's mobs all the way down. That's pretty great. Already off the bat, that's a great deal of an upgrade. Now, you can make a crafting terminal out of this, which is what we're going to do, because this is an even better upgrade. Let's just snag those. Okay, good. No weird crashes as a result of breaking that. I was hoping not, but sometimes you just don't know. So we will need a crafting table and another one of these servos. Did the crafting table type matter? It has to be a vanilla crafting table. Well, actually, I think, or rather, oak, but that's fine. I think that works. So we'll do that, and then we combine these two, and now we have a crafting terminal. And again, we'll get another quest, Alchemist's Delight, and then the low crafting module. I just had to make that. Oh, why would you make me make that again? That was kind of silly. Ooh, another flask of restoration. Those are cool. So then, sorry, I'm having to refocus my thoughts now because that threw me off a little bit. We're gonna need another one of those servos, and we'll need another crafting table. I believe there's a compatibility recipe for making just the standard crafting table, because it's gonna want 4 of the same planks, but then I think you can do that. Yep, okay, good. So, we make another low module, just to get, at this point, there is a reason why they want us to make this, but at this point, I just want the quest. And that gets us Sorcerer's Delight, which was an Insight 3 book. Holy, that 6 levels? Yeah, easy. Done. Insight 3 is insanely good. That'll be very, very, very welcomed. Okay, so yeah, essentially the reason they wanted us to make the crafting modules is because there's a lot to it. Crafting modules work along a crafting or item terminal to allow on-demand crafting from machines. So you can work with a crafting module using a couple of pieces. You're going to need, like a vanilla furnace, you'd need the output on the top, or the input on the top side. On the craft, or in the crafting module, would go on the top one, and then the recipe needs to be added to the module itself. You can only add 1 recipe per module, but you can do up to 3 modules per pipe. So in other words, you can auto craft up to 3 things per 1 pipe using 3 different crafting terminals. With the recipe set, you'll still need to extract the item out of the thing you're trying to automate, so that'll have to be a separate thing completely. And then to ensure that the required items are in the network, request the output item. Craftable items always appear with a 0 for their quantity and appear at the end of the list of items. Crafting module does not need to go directly on the machine. For instance, it could be installed on a pipe connected to a chest, and a secondary network could be connected to that chest. Okay, so yeah, they're basically saying that you can do essentially a proxy is what they call it, and that's correct. Just a way of sort of delegating the crafting module to another system. For example, if we wanted to have a chest on top of a chest and then a hopper and then a furnace, the chest could receive the crafting module, and then you could then theoretically have 5 sides of that chest have crafting modules. In other words, 15 possible recipes for that 1 furnace or 1 machine, but furnace was the example I gave. I don't think that's particularly necessary, but it is still cool. The crafting terminal is just neat because it has its own little system here. And we can, of course, ask, like if we did, what's a thing we could do? I'm trying to think. Well, let's put these away, and then we can request enough stuff to make this recipe. And it's going to say, okay, well, connecting glass was not found. I don't know if there is a way or not to possibly fix that up a little bit, but that's okay if there isn't. So yeah, long story short, that's sort of the setup. Now, I think there is a priority system as well, so you can have lowest and highest priority. You would probably want this if you wanted to have like a storage door system that fills up first, which we probably will do. So why don't I get some of that stuff prepared, because I'm not exactly sure what the setup is going to be. Treble hooks trinket, what does that do? You'll get triple rolls from fishing. Oh wow, that's cool. Fishing is something that they recommend you do in this pack, but I've just never been a fan. I've always found more fun ways to do it, I guess. I don't know. So regardless, let's get some of the storage stuff moved and set up, and then I'll come back whenever that's done, because that's going to be kind of tedious and boring and difficult to just kind of do on camera. Okay, so I've got everything moved over, and you can see I made a lot of our chest diamond variants. That way we can store even more stuff. Underground here, you can see these are called pipe from Pretty Pipe, and I facaded them by holding a block in my offhand and then the pipe wrench in my main hand. And you can see if you hover over this, it says allows modifying pipe connections, places blocks in offhand as covers, sneak to remove, cover, or pipe. So I did that. And that worked beautifully, and that is how we got that covered. So now I'm noticing that getting stuff out of these is very slow unless you have speed upgrades. So I'm working on making some more upgrades. That way we can get ourselves improved just speed overall, because this is crazy slow. Okay, so we have everything here set up, all nicely configured. We've got a handful of speed upgrades. These speed increase modules have all been inserted for all of these guys. These are not too terribly expensive. They're just Electrum and Invar, a whole lot of sugar, and then a redstone servo. So I've got one for every one of the chests here, which are 10 in total. I have not yet put one on the storage drawers yet, but what the storage drawers do have are a controller, and each one of their controllers has a highest priority module. That way things go into the controller before they, or will try to go into the controller, will think about it, before they will even remotely think about trying to go into a chest. And this will keep our chest from overflowing with things like cobblestone, sand, gravel, dirt, andesite, etc. So I think that's super duper useful, and I think that's going to bode very nicely for us. So overall, the entire system seems to be working really nicely. Let me just kind of give a brief demo. I thought I tossed that in there. Did I not? Oh, I tossed it over here. So if we take this, I had crushed a cluster from, or clump from a nickel, I think it was a nickel deposit that I left behind. So once this smelts through, which we've already seen a million times, we can take this and go get it, put it back in the system, and then we can actually see more or less how that's going to end up working out for us. Now, it occurs to me that, this whole system is very cool and all, but it would be really cool if we could see it. So maybe we should try doing that real quick. These pipes I don't think I really want to see. I don't think that's necessarily going to be part of how I plan this design out. Plus, the symmetry and stuff too. But yeah, this looks really cool. I like being able to see things as we request them. So if I toss this away, you're going to see exactly the route that it takes, and it went straight over there. If I put this smooth quartz away and just start tossing a whole bunch of these other things that I have that we've made today, I can start. Oh, come on. My shift key is being weird. My whole computer's being kind of weird with the keyboard input today. I'm not really sure what's going on. But anyways, might actually just genuinely need a restart at this point. I'm on the Windows 11 preview, and it's probably just waiting for that restart for the latest update. So yeah, it'll look, oh, I did forget this, and it will look a little better once this dirt despawns. So yeah, so let's pop down some of these counters. It looks like there may be some interesting rendering issues with these now. We'll see how that goes. I believe they are also, yep, looks like they're still directional like they used to be. Can they do corners? Nope. Okay, let's see. Cooking with blockheads. Okay, so it looks like we might need a kitchen corner as well. So let's do maybe 2 here and then another one here, facing, didn't really matter. And we can look into some of the other cooking with blockheads things, because there are quite a few, and they're pretty cool. So if we did, I'll send those back. Let's do a corner. Let's do maybe 2 corners. And these corners we can use to fill in some of the gaps. Like that and like that. Beautiful. And it looks like we might want an oven and a sink or cooking table. Maybe even all 3. I'm not 100% sure what would be easiest at this point. Let's do Cooking for Blockheads 1. All right, that gets our Cooking for Blockheads book, and now we can use that to craft up our little cooking table. And the cooking table is kind of like a workbench for... yes, we need to upgrade it first. So let's do that. And that gets us for the Cooking for Blockheads Tier 2. I will remove that and request, and this will get us our set of ingredients. And I believe this does not consume the book. Nope, it consumes the book. Well, that makes sense, because it enables all the crafting things that the book itself does as part of the table. So, honestly, that is both expected to some degree and also just completely fine. So, put it right here, and if I... there are no ingredients in our system currently, but if I had ingredients in here, it would show us what we could do with them. So let's get a couple of things handled for that as well, because if you need to cook something, we don't have a way to do that yet. So going back to it cooking, there is a oven. This guy, relatively straightforward. I believe we have a furnace. No, we do not. Well, we can create one. And we'll need glass. Let's grab 3 of those. And then let's see, add cooking. Let's grab a oven, except we don't need this or that. Request. This will get us a stove or an oven. I may, in fact, destroy that. So this is the oven. It's very, very cute, very cool. And that's usually this is used alongside Pam's Harvestcraft, but we don't have it installed, so I'm curious to see what they're expecting, really. Let's put this little cabinet here, and then we'll do another cabinet there, and we'll grab a sink. And I think the sink will be super helpful. So add cooking. When you can dye these, I just don't really see a point. Not at least at this particular stage. It looks like this shouldn't take too terribly long to craft. Beautiful. And we'll just snag that bucket. And the sink gives us a way to get water as well. In fact, I think it is an infinite source of water at all times. So if we grab like these, yep, you can empty and fill with water at any time, which means that this little trough out here is not actually going to be necessary anymore. I don't believe there's anything else we really desperately need. The refrigerator maybe we could do. So I guess we'll just put the little mini fridge there. So now what we can do is we can grab all of the food that we have so far, which also includes this stuff. I will go ahead and put this stuff in our fridge. Let's just toss these things in here and see what we can do. We can sort by name, sort by hunger, restored, saturation. Doesn't look like that may be working. I could be mistaken. Looks like a lot of this is still a work in progress, too. So yeah, overall, very cool stuff that we have set up here. We have a cute little kitchen now, and I'm pretty happy with this. So last things last, I definitely want to get our enchanting boosted a little bit, because at its current state, it's super sad. I don't know really exactly how I planned on doing this, but I figured what I could do is just grab a couple of stacks of books and a couple of stacks of logs and make some bookshelves, essentially. But I think I may end up just sticking with dark oak. Okay, so 18 is plenty. You only need 15. But I'm trying to build this out a little unconventionally. Not trying to, I'm going to have to, really. So we're going to have to do something like this. And frankly, I know for certain that this isn't going to work for anything above this top layer, but that is okay. Can also probably manage something like that. And is this my Silk Touch pick? It is not. I may redo this, actually, and see about something different. Because what we could do is we could have enchanting. Oh, you know, this doesn't even work. So yeah, we're just going to have to play with this. Unfortunately, this will be pretty bad enchanting for, you know, early game. But it's what we can afford, so we'll take it. And we can also start to clear out some of our stuff too, which will be great. So I can put that there. I can put the little globe over here. I think that's super cute, super quaint, and that's going to get us level 20 enchantments. That's not perfect. That's actually far from it. But again, we didn't really give ourselves a lot of room here to do this. Now, I may and I am considering the possibility of expanding out this part, just to see how much more we could fit into this house. But there's also the reality that we will need to probably build more housing for more things that we do. We're going to have a place for machinery. We're going to have a place for enchanting, especially with apotheosis and all the things we can do there. So yeah, there's just all sorts of stuff that's still left for us to do. I think for now, the move is to do what I've done here, and just kind of leave it pretty close to where it's at right now. I was kind of curious. I guess I could put like a little book bin up there. I'm just trying to kind of beautify this area up a little bit because there's so much going on still. We do the grindstone. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do the grindstone here and we'll put the globe up here. It'll be super cute, just kind of off to the side. Have this kind of busybody library style. And I don't suppose removing the chains here to make this, that's still level 20, right? Yeah, I was going to say, because we only have 10 books in total, which is unfortunate, but it is simply the best we can do. We can't really replace any corners. At this point, we could possibly just fill this in and remove those little bushes. I don't know. I don't know that that's strictly necessary. But, you know, there's plenty to play with here. Looking at F7 real quick, I want to make sure we're still good on brightness. We are, so I'm probably going to dangle this guy right here. I think that'll be pretty cute to just have that over there. Yeah, overall, again, not perfect, but it's a start. You know, it's something. Let's see how well we can enchant, and then I think I will probably call it an episode there. So, let's take a look at Lapis. Let's grab ourselves 2 stacks. And let's get ourselves 20 levels. Just soulbound. All right, fair enough. So yeah, I'm probably going to spend a little bit of time in between episodes, just kind of trying to build up some decent teleportation. What the heck? Oh, to be able to do this. Okay. Interesting. I don't really have a desire for that either. Like I was saying, I think I'm probably going to spend some time in between episodes working on getting the enchantments on our tools built up a little bit. And while it does seem like... Oh, unbreaking is actually really great. While it does seem like we're kind of in a corner right now as far as enchanting goes, there are other bookshelf types. So if we look at Apotheosis, I am hitting Shift. There are other variants of shelves that will give us more of what we're looking for. So what we want is either Arcana or Eterna. So something like a Heartforged shelf, something like this. These are pretty insane. You know, has Sea Infusion, but this will give us up to that 30 Eterna and then 10% more Arcana. So we could make some of these. We could do a glowing hell shelf instead, if that's what we wanted, which has hell infusion instead of sea infusion. And then there's the end shelf. I don't remember if there's anything with the draconic. Draconic is just that. Okay. So yeah, the draconic is also another option. And there's also the beast shelf, which is pretty cool, although it does add a lot of quanta. Melon shelf also kind of does and is terrible for enchanting. So we do have other shelf options that can do us a little better if we run into issues in the future. But anyways, thanks a lot for joining me on this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one.